so stupid.
We done brought a word on today.
Yeah.
We are excited.
Won't he do it?
Won't he will? Hallelujah. We need to go to bed, y'all. It's getting dark. Okay. Hey friends. Welcome back to my channel. I have a special guest for you guys. So I guess y'all can call this Hey Nurse Rocky and Friends, because I have my lovely friend Cindy here with me.
Y'all can call me Cece.
So yeah, and we'll put her handles and stuff all in the video and in the description box below, so you can go follow her and keep up with her journey as well. But she is here to talk to you guys about her new nurse journey. A lot of you guys have been asking me about what it's like to be a new nurse, especially during COVID. And so I brought her here with me to just kind of tell me her story, tell me what her process was like, and just kind of have a conversation about being new in the nurse world during COVID, and just period, really. So we're just gonna have a little conversation. It's not really like a Q&A for real. I'm trying to make this as natural as possible, but
I'm so distracted because the whole fruit fly
this is just too, okay, no. Okay, so Cece, tell me about the process that you went through to become a new nurse. So no.
I'm sorry. Alright, you guys. I'm just sharing my experience because I know even a lot of my old former classmates were going through the same thing. COVID has been rough for new grad nurses, and it was so rough to the point that I was like, forget this, forget Florida, let me start venturing out in different states because it's just not happening here. I graduated in December of 2019, and you know, I've applied to jobs since November. So you start applying to jobs even before
you graduate. Okay.
Because the market is competitive, especially in South Florida. Didn't hear anything from that hospital. I'm gonna even tell y'all about that, but hold on. Didn't hear anything from that hospital. Mind you, even after graduation, I was still working in management. I was working in property management. And because of COVID, I actually got laid off. What was it? January, February, March. The end of March, I got laid off. That was hard. It wasn't just me. It was pretty much even my household. Everybody wasn't working because of COVID. And moving forward, you know, we're trying to figure out, okay, what's our next move, what we're gonna do, and that right there even puts more of the pressure to be applying all over the place. Yeah. And one thing we already know this about the job market. When you're applying to a job, you don't apply to 2-3 little jobs. You need to put applications all over the place. You need to be applying to like 20-30 different jobs, and then you may get like 3 phone calls or 4.
Mercy.
So I wasn't really getting any callbacks. I applied at a couple hospitals, and it was either, oh, we don't have time to be training new grads right now because COVID is so crazy, which is so crazy to me that I got that response in Florida, because in different states it was a whole different ballgame. Like in different states, they're pulling people out of school and putting them in the hospital, giving them a temporary license or something, you know, to work because the demand was that bad. Right. But over here in Florida, this whole state, y'all already know Florida's an interesting state. Okay,
don't mess with the Florida man.
I see all type of memes about Florida. Okay,
don't mess with the Florida man. That's who went in the hospital. Florida man.
Every time you see something on the news, all crazy.
It's Florida.
But it was just, I wasn't getting picked up. I got a couple interviews. Actually, I bombed my first couple of interviews.
Ooh, tell us about that. What was that like? What'd you do?
I'm special. You know, certain things don't catch on to me so quick. So I was at this interview, and you know, sometimes when they ask you, well, so what do you like, or what was your favorite clinical experience? You know, with that question, you need to answer whatever is tailored to that floor, like whatever is close to the floor. Like if you're
you speaking so
But I applied to this job, and it was for a, stroke unit, neuro. And they're like, what was your favorite clinical site? My behind, community. Like, that's already a no during the interview. Like, we're not trying to hear that community is your favorite clinical site. So, I didn't get that job. And then through that process, I practiced as far as interviewing skills. But let me tell you how God works, though. Remember when we did that FaceTime or that group chat for your birthday? It was me, Green, a couple of... I ended up networking with someone who practiced with
Tabitha,
me.
Tabitha had mentioned somebody to connect you
Ayana.
with. Oh,
shout out to Ayana. She drilled me through interviewing skills. Good. And that's how, now... Can I say what hospital I'm working at now?
If you want, I wouldn't.
Alright.
But you can just say you're working at a hospital. And
right now, through Ayana drilling with me through the whole interview process, I was able to land a job here in Atlanta. So my thing was, forget Florida. I applied to Texas. I applied to Georgia. I think I even in South Carolina. I think I even applied there. Who's there that I know? I don't know. But I'm just at this point. Your girl needs to work.
Just be persistent.
Yeah, you need to be persistent.
Even if you can't go from state to state, just within the state that you're in, like, don't give up or don't just try and focus on one or two hospitals. You need to be putting yourself out there.
Yeah, I just needed something. I needed something quick. Get your feet wet somewhere. Yeah. And then it don't have to be the dream job. You need a job. Get your feet wet somewhere. Yeah. And then from there you can grow and do whatever you want to do. Right. But that was my process. I graduated in December and I actually just started working in August. So COVID kind of really extended that time frame for me. Unfortunately, I was part of the population that got the answers. We don't have time to train you right now, so we push back residency or whatever the excuse was. But moving forward, I found a job, and here's another thing with that though. With the job that I have, they have me working as a tech for 2 months. They have you working as a tech for 2 months, and then you start nurse residency. So I actually won't start the residency till next month, November. Yeah. So
they're definitely they're really slowing the process.
Listen,
down.
That's like almost a year that I started working. I'm starting to work as an RN. I graduated December of 2019, and I'm gonna work as an RN November of 2020. That's what COVID did to me. Okay, but
I guess positive moral lesson is be patient. Don't give up. Your breakthrough is coming, baby.
One thing I've also learned though. Sorry to cut you off, babe. Network.
Yes. I'm so glad they worked out.
Yeah, they did not even just with Ayana though. Even in nursing school, when you're in clinicals, network, okay? Those managers, make sure they see you. Make sure they remember your name.
That's true.
Talk, amongst the people who are on the floor, because my classmates, I think, who were actually able to get jobs, granted, I'm not taking nothing from them, but I think networking had a big deal as far as why they were able to be pulled already come February, March, or they started working already. So there's certain things in nursing school they probably don't drill on you, and then maybe that's something that we should know, that's common sense, but at the time I wasn't thinking about that. You're thinking about just getting through nursing school. You're not thinking about I need to network.
Talk to this,
let them remember
manager.
my name.
I'm trying to talk to the nurse that's training me so I can know what the heck I'm doing.
In the career field, networking that's your go-to.
Important.
Yes, you have to make sure you do your part, practice for your interviews and make sure you have your skills, whatever, but networking is a very big deal on making sure, because a lot of times when you're applying to jobs and getting that call is just them remembering your name, so
or hearing something from a nurse that they trust, recommending you. That's good. That's really important. Important. So even once you got on with this hospital, they trained you online for a while, didn't they? You still didn't come into the hospital?
No, you didn't. It wasn't really training. What was it? You go through an orientation process where they're just talking about different policies within the hospital, what's expected of you.
So just regular onboarding stuff.
Regular onboarding stuff.
They just try and make it as online as possible so you don't have to come in. Okay, that makes sense. So far, so now that you're in the hospital, how has COVID affected your experience? or just what's your experience as a new? I mean, because being a new grad is an experience in itself, but then COVID kind of adds this special experience to it. So tell me about.
No, well, one thing is, for the patients, I know it's tough where patients are not able to have their family, come in to visit.
Mm-hmm.
But honestly, as someone who's learning and new on the floor, that has low-key been a blessing in disguise.
Girl, it's a blessing. Look, it's a blessing for veteran nurses as well.
Imagine you doing something and then I'm over here messing up, and imagine your family, is right there.
That's real.
And you have those family members who feel like they can tell you how to do your job.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, you're not checking that blood sugar right. It's not supposed to be there. Oh, I actually had that happen to me during clinical once. She's sitting there, and her family member, the patient, is laying on the bed, and there's a family member on the bedside, and while I'm doing it, she's like, I can already tell you did that wrong.
Oh.
I'm like, okay,
Excuse me.
Right. Okay. And she's like, do you want me to do it? And in that moment, I felt like I had to stay in control because she was trying me at that point. She's like, do you want me to do it? And I was like, it's all right. I'll do it. And I sure did, with shaking hands at all. Made sure I got it right the second time around.
Every family member, they got credentials now. Like, they know what they're doing now. So they know everything now.
I try, to show empathy because I get it. They're a little frustrated seeing their family in that position.
But that puts a lot of pressure on you.
Yeah.
I mean, as a nurse, period. And it's a lot of pressure and unnecessary, interference, period. Especially as a new grad. That's a lot of pressure.
Yeah.
So that's a good point,
That's
too.
one thing during COVID, I'm kind of thankful for. But as far as other than, extending the whole hiring process, working on the floor, we have to make sure, we're wearing a face shield. Not only are we wearing a mask, we're wearing a face shield. I'm on the orthopedics floor. So we're wearing a face shield going into each and every patient's room. That's one thing that I had to get used to, because during the first couple of weeks, I was wearing my little wig, and it was just at the end of the day, I had somebody be like, "Girl, your hair, taking off that face shield on and off,
gonna bring it back."
It got to a point where I'm like, ugh, I can't do this, and then it gets foggy in there, I promise you, my breath is not that hot, it's just I couldn't.
It's a totally different experience.
I actually like the mask. People don't like wearing a mask.
You just talking about the N95s?
No, not the N95, just the regular.
Mask.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I haven't had any COVID patients on our floor yet, but even if we do, the bone marrow nurses deal with that. We don't deal with that, but. I like the mask because you can't see my facial expressions that I'm, making under there. Okay, so I have no complaints.
Halfway cussing folk out underneath your
no
mask.
complaints.
That's real.
When I'm hungry and my lips getting chapped, you can't see it. So I have no complaints at all.
That's true.
But other than that, I don't know if there's anything else major though that COVID has done, because we're not really interacting that much on the floor with COVID. But it's really just those two things.
Gotcha.
Sorry, I'm basic.
Girl, please. Your experience is valid. Okay. So I guess what's the best thing that you've experienced so far? What's been the highlight of your new nurse experience?
I've had friends who told me that they didn't like the floors that they started on because they felt like management was horrible. And thank goodness, one thing I can say, my floor, the teamwork, management, outstanding. I've only been there since August, so maybe, I gotta give it some time. I don't know, but I have no complaints with the people I work with.
That's good.
You almost, they ask you so much, are you okay? Do you need help with anything? To the point that you're like, bro, why you keep asking me that? Am I right?
Do you think
that
I need help?
Do I look like I'm struggling?
So I look confused.
I'm not gonna lie. I'm one of those people that be like, you think you're holding it together, but
your
on the outside you're like,
right, your eyebrows all
fall,
you look confused, baby. What's wrong?
Right. But I haven't had any issues.
But that's good though. that goes towards one of the points that I made in my last video. And if you guys haven't watched it, y'all know I'm gonna point you to the cards. After this video, click on the cards and watch my tips for new grad nurses. And I talked about how, it's important for us to be able to ask questions. I suggested to find a safe person, but it's like even 10 times better if you have, your whole unit on your side. Like, that's the way it's supposed to be. That's ideal, to where people are asking you if you need help. Like, that makes it, like, that leaves you no excuse to be able to ask critical questions and really get in there and like see things, follow nurses, see what they're doing, learn stuff that way. So definitely get in with your fellow nurses and management, things like that. Like, those just kind of harboring on those points that I talked about in that video. So that's really important.
Yeah, because during the first couple of weeks, you know what, I wasn't one of those saying, yeah, I need help. But you know what made me learn my lesson? My back. I have patience.
You was trying to pull them up from the top of the bed.
They're like, oh, you need help? I'm like, no. I
trying to put them in Trendelenburg and get that sliding sheet.
I done messed up my back. I had a patient that was holding on to me I went home and started feeling like, I'm like, okay, all right, I'm going to start calling them and be like, can you help me pull up and so-and-so? Ask for help. Don't try to do everything by yourself, because it's going to come back and bite you.
It really is. That is the whole truth.
Yeah.
Okay. So that's a good best experience. Like, that is the ideal experience. What's been the hardest part for you so far? What's been the hardest thing?
What has been the hardest thing for me? Moving to Georgia and seeing them taxes coming out of my check. That's been. I come from Florida. We don't have state taxes like that coming out of our check.
You're so right.
Honestly, that has been the hardest thing. They almost taking like $300 out of my check.
I'm sorry.
That's a couple bills coming out of, like, give it back.
That's what I'm talking about something. Give me my money, honey.
But let me see. Am I being real though? Is that the hardest thing? Honestly, I feel like that is the hardest thing for me. Is that adjustment? People stealing my money.
Too bad.
Like, that's
so you're not having no hardships on the floor?
On the floor, not yet, but it could be, because I'm kind of still in tech role right now.
But you have the support that you need. I mean, man, I'm telling you that I feel like most of your hardships come from the lack of support. Like, so the fact that you have that, I think that does eliminate. Like, I'm sitting over here like, how do you not have hardships? But most of the hardships and challenges come when you feel
your work environment.
When you feel uncomfortable to ask somebody for help, or when you don't have that camaraderie, or you feel like somebody is bullying you or talking about you. Like, it comes from that support system, that team aspect of the hospital. So I mean, like, when you say you don't have hardships, that's great. That's amazing, and that coincides with your best experience of having that teamwork.
Sorry. One more other thing I can maybe say that's been a struggle is time management.
Okay. There you go.
I find myself, I haven't done it that often recently, because I kind of, grab a hold on to it. But when it's time for documenting, I'm supposed to be off the floor by 7:30, and I've had moments where I'm documenting as a tech. You can't be, like, on nurse time. Yeah, you can probably have a little time afterwards. But imagine, I'm a tech right now. I'm not even documenting that much in my nurse role yet. So I shouldn't be having to stay past 8 o'clock trying to fix, whatever I need to.
But you can't say that. You can't.
They say something
that
to you though.
But you can't speak that over. Like, if you need to take the time to do the things you need to do, that's fine. Like, don't tell yourself, I shouldn't have these problems. You do, and your issues are valid. It's just a matter of working systems into, like, putting systems in place.
You gotta find your own.
Finding your own rhythm and taking the time to put those in place so that you can get past that. And girl, as a tech, you're probably taking care of like twice, 3 times the amount of patients that you would as a nurse. So
you know what's good though with this floor? You probably have like 4 patients as a nurse on this floor.
That's good. Yeah, the ratios are.
The techs be having like 8. I've already had like 12 patients by myself and stuff like that.
So most of your time is being eaten up by patient care. Yeah. Whereas the nurses do have time to kind of sit down and gather themselves. So don't be hard on yourself with that. But I can see how that could be a struggle to work through.
My advice to you guys during your orientation phase, of working in a hospital, your preceptor is gonna have their own thing going on, and then they're gonna show you how they do things. So during those first couple of weeks, you're gonna struggle a little bit because you're kind of doing something how somebody else does it. But when you're on your own, you start to find your own little rhythm. You do things the way you need to do them. That's what's important. You gotta find what works for you. Because one thing I've realized, not just nurses, techs, any person who's on the floor providing patient care is also personal on how you give it. There's standard guidelines and rules for the floor, but it's also tailored to how you provide it. So you just have to make sure you find out what's your flow and master that. Don't master necessarily what somebody else taught you. Figure out how you can do something properly the right way and master it, and then that'll help you with your time management. You know, if you feel like you're doing something and you're taking a lot longer that may not be working for you. You gotta find a different way to try to do it. So yeah,
I like that.
Yeah,
girl, you better teach teach.
This her channel. I'm just playing.
You are now watching.
Aw,
it feels good.
I'm just so in your
grateful.
chair, you know.
Girl, I know. Look, my chair is all shorter anyway, so I'm gonna just let you shine,
I have to come correct for my friend.
Baby, glow.
She was like, "Oh, you taking forever to get ready." I'm like, "Listen, I respect your craft, okay? I'm gonna come correct for you."
She came here to outshine your girl, and she is doing her thing. And I really appreciate this gems that she is dropping for y'all.
Listen, you're developing content for people.
I'm trying to help y'all.
Yeah, you're doing really great.
I'm past that phase of being new. I told y'all in my new nurse tips or my nursing student tips video, I be getting amnesia. Like when I go through a challenging time and I make it through, I don't look back.
You're so stupid.
So I'm just so glad that she is here to shed light on, her experiences and a lot of the experiences that you may be facing. Man, there was one other thing that I wanted to go through. Anything else you want to say?
You guys, this girl.
Oh my God, this is not what this is for.
I know.
This ain't a part of the talk show. No, this ain't nursing.
During a couple of days, because honestly, I just want to give a big thank you right now because she already knows. I already spoke to her about it. But, I've moved from Florida to Georgia for a new job. And I'm starting this whole new process. I'm on my own for the first time out here. Living in a whole apartment by myself. I'm leaving mom and dad, late 20s and finally doing this. And, sometimes you feel like you have moments where you don't see your progression. And sometimes God will send you a little reminder, such like a friend, and remind you, girl, you're doing things,
Right.
So you guys, if anybody out there is feeling discouraged, like you're stuck, because COVID has had a lot of people feeling stuck, sometimes we can't see the bigger picture in the moment, but pay attention to your surroundings, because sometimes you'll get little reminders here and there that, look at where you came from. You're not where you were. Sometimes I remember watching some interview. I don't remember exactly who was on that panel, but they were like, sometimes we can't see it, but when you look back and you see how everything is leading up to where you are now, you're progressing. You're progressing in some way. You're not stagnant. You're not. It's just that we put so much pressure on ourselves and we feel like we are, but no. Continue. If you're alive and breathing, keep pushing. You will keep moving forward. Keep doing what you have to do, and keep using your gift to help people. You're using your platform. You're speaking, to people out there, and more power to you, because God has moved through you, to help others. So y'all just keep pushing out there, during COVID. Just keep doing whatever you gotta do, and it'll get better. Yes. It will get better.
Yes.
Yeah.
Thank you for sharing that. And I guess I wanted to add to that, like, while you're pushing and while you're like continuing to move forward, I talked about this in my last video as well, like, be gracious with yourself, be compassionate to yourself along the way. I was listening to a book this morning, and it was just talking about how self-compassion leads to resilience. Like when you can talk to yourself like you would a friend, like when you see a friend struggling, you don't just tell them like, girl, you can't do this, like you ain't, you know, like you don't talk to a friend like that. But we talk to ourselves like that through the process. Like we put ourselves down, we allow those doubts, fears, insecurities to put us down. When like if we were to talk to a friend struggling through it, we would encourage them. We would, you know, say, girl, you're doing things, like you're making progress, like everything's gonna be okay. We need to talk to ourselves like that, and with those with that self-compassion, it kind of removes those limiting beliefs that we harbor in our minds that keep us from moving forward. And so just to add on top of that, while she's saying move forward, I say yes, keep moving forward, but also be compassionate to yourself along the way, on the journey. And that will make you so much more resilient as you go through the ups and downs of this phase of your career. Yeah, and you're learning, you're growing, and even when you can't see it, you are learning, you are growing, and so keep going. You're growing, so keep going.
Oh, look, and that's a caption.
So yeah,
such millennials, bro. It's a caption. Oh, let me write that down.
Y'all know I be struggling with Instagram captions. I hope y'all following me, and we gonna put her handle. Follow her too. Quit playing. So yeah,
you're so stupid.
We done brought a word on today.
Yeah.
We are excited.
Won't he do it?
Won't he will? Hallelujah. We need to go to bed, y'all. It's getting dark. Okay. We're going to keep celebrating. We are going to keep celebrating Cindy and her journey. And we celebrate you. Like I said, we want to create a conversation in the comments and really just uplift and encourage all of our new grads out there, especially during this time. So, yeah, we just continue to encourage you. That's all we got for y'all. Yeah. Thank you for rocking with Nurse Rocky and Frennsss. Make sure you stay tuned, and we'll see you. I'll see you.
All right, new grads, we can do it.
I'll see you in my next video.
Bye.